This video was made possible by the support of our patrons. We can't thank you enough for your offer to the channel. Hello everyone and welcome to another EDH gameplay video brought to you by Affinity for Commander. My name is Martin.
And my name is Alex.
This week we have some new commanders to the channel, as well as the return of a fan favourite. So without further ado, let's take a look at those opening hands. My commander is Brudiclad Telcor Engineer. I'll keep an opening hand of Hangerback Walker, Skull Clamp, Pirate's Prize, Pirate's Pillage, Supplant Form, Wandering Fumarole, and an Island.
My commander is Tuvasa the Sunlit. My opening hand consists of Eternal Witness, Alpha Authority, Heroic Intervention, Temple Garden, Glacial Fortress, Mosswort Bridge, and an Island.
Ren is playing his Isperia the Inscrutable deck. His opening hand contains Pride of the Clouds, Restoration Angel, Windborn Muse, a Plains and 2 Islands.
And finally, Callum's commander is Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. He keeps an opening hand of Llanowar Elves, Beast Whisperer, Monstrous Onslaught, Seasons Past, and 3 Forests.
I win the die roll and start things off by playing Wandering Fumarole. I then pass to Alex.
I play Mosswort Bridge, exile a card with its hideaway trigger, and pass the turn.
Ren plays an island and then ends his turn.
Callum plays a forest and then casts Llanowar Elves. He then passes to Martin.
I start my turn by playing an island and then cast Hangerback Walker where X is 1. I then end my turn.
I play an island and then pass to Ren.
Ren plays a Plains and then casts Pride of the Clouds. He then passes the turn.
Callum plays a forest and then casts his commander, Selvala Heart of the Wilds. He then ends his turn.
In my turn I play an island. I then cast Saheeli Rai and use her +1 ability to scry 1. I leave the card on top of my library and everyone other than me takes 1 damage. I then pass the turn, to which Alex responds by cycling Scattered Groves. He then moves to his turn.
I play Glacial Fortress and then cast my commander, Tuvasa the Sunlit. I then end my turn.
Ren begins his turn by playing an island, and then moves to combat. He attacks Saheeli with his elemental cat and she takes 1 damage. Ren then moves to his second main phase and casts Whisper Silk Cloak. He then passes to Callum.
For his turn, Callum plays a forest. He then casts Beast Whisperer, drawing a card thanks to his commander's ability. Callum then ends his turn.
I start my turn by playing a mountain, and then cast Pirate's Prize. I draw 2 cards, make a treasure token, and use Saheeli's +1 ability to scry 1. Everybody else takes 1 damage, and I then end my turn.
I play Temple Garden, losing 2 life to have it enter the battlefield untapped. Next, I cast Coarse Spirit Dancer, followed by Alpha Authority. I enchant Tuvasa with the aura, draw 2 cards, and then pass to Ren.
Ren plays an island, and then casts Windborn Muse. Unable to decide who he should attack, Ren then ends his turn.
In his turn, Callum plays a forest. He then casts Ulvenwald Observer, drawing 2 cards, and passes the turn.
I play an island and then use Saheeli's +1 ability. I scry 1, everybody else loses a life, and then I cast Vizier of Many Faces. I have the Shapeshifter enter as a copy of Callum's Ulvenwald Observer, and then pass to Alex.
I begin my turn by casting Eidolon of Blossoms, drawing 2 cards. Unfortunately for me, I fail to draw any lands and discard down to 7 before passing the turn.
Ren casts Propaganda and then ends his turn.
Callum plays a forests and then casts Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. Not bad for turn 5. He draws 2 cards, chooses to exile Pride of the Clouds and Alpha Authority, and then passes the turn. Martin responds by putting a +1/+1 counter on his Hangerback Walker, and then proceeds to his turn.
I begin my turn by using Saheeli's +1 ability, scrying 1 and causing everyone else to lose a life. I then cast Pirate's Pillage, discarding a card to draw 2 more. I create 2 more treasure tokens, cast Skull Clamp, and then end my turn.
I start my turn by casting Soul Ring, and then cast Darksteel Mutation targeting Ulamog. I draw 3 cards, cast Overgrowth on my island, and draw 2 more cards. I once again fail to draw a land and discard down to 7 before passing to Ren.
Ren draws for his turn and then passes without casting anything.
Callum plays a forest and then casts the Immortal Sun. Everybody points and laughs at Saheeli, and Callum casts Soul of the Harvest, drawing a card. He then ends his turn and Martin sacrifices a treasure to put another +1/+1 counter on Hangerback Walker before moving to his turn.
I play Rogue's Passage and then cast Supplant Form, targeting Soul of the Harvest. The elemental is returned to Callum's hand and I make a token copy of it before moving to combat. I attack Alex with my Uvenvold Observer, dealing him 6 damage. I then end my turn.
In my turn, I play Reliquary Tower, and then cast Boon Satyr for its bestow cost. I draw 3 cards, attach the aura to Tuvasa, and pass the turn. Ren responds to this by flashing in Restoration Angel, and then moves to his turn.
Ren finally draws another planes, plays it and casts his commander, Isperia the Inscrutable. He then passes to Callum.
Callum plays a forest, and then casts Magistrate's Scepter. He recasts Soul of the Harvest, draws a card, and then casts Steel Leaf Champion, drawing 2 more cards. He then uses his remaining mana to put a charge counter on his scepter, and moves to combat. Martin proposed that they work together to deal me a respectable amount of damage, and asks Callum to attack him with his Observer. Callum agrees, and Martin blocks the Tree Folk with his Hangerback Walker. He taps the Walker to put a +1/+1 counter on it before damage occurs, and his creature is then destroyed. Martin makes 4 1/1 Thopter tokens as a result, and Callum ends his turn.
I start my turn by playing a mountain, and then cast my commander, Brudiclad Telcor Engineer. Next I cast Izzet Signet and then move to combat. I create a 2/1 Mere token thanks to Brudiclad, and then choose to turn all of my tokens into copies of my Soul of the Harvest. I decide not to attack as Alex threatens to cast Settle the Wreckage and instead pass the turn. In my end step, Alex casts Enlightened Tutor, putting Bear Umbra on top of his library. He then moves to his turn.
I play Bountiful Promenade, and then cast Bear Umbra, targeting Tuvasa. I draw 3 cards, and then cast Bastion Protector. Still not finished, I cast Ground Seal, drawing once more. Moving to combat, I attack Martin for 15 with Tuvasa, and untap all of my lands thanks to Bear Umbra. Martin blocks the Merfolk with his Observer, and draws a card from its ability. Moving to my second main phase, I cast Sylvan Library, drawing a card. I then pass to Ren.
In his turn, Ren casts Angel of Condemnation. He then passes to Callum.
Callum plays a forest, and puts another charge counter on his scepter. He then casts Genesis Hydra where X is 8, drawing 2 cards. He puts Zendikar Resurgence into play, and then casts Monstrous Onslaught. He spreads the 9 out, assigning the lethal damage across all of my creatures apart from Tuvasa, as well as assigning 2 damage to Windborn Muse. I respond by casting Heroic Intervention, giving my creatures indestructible, and Windborn Muse is dealt 2 damage. Callum then moves to combat, and I respond by activating my Mosswarp Bridges ability, casting the Winds of Wrath that was hidden beneath it. The board is then wiped of creatures except for my indestructible creatures and Callum's Insect Ulamog, and Callum draws 2 cards as a result of his Observer. Callum then ends his turn.
I play Command Tower, and then recast my commander. I equip Skullclamp to Brudiclad, and then move to combat. I create a 2/1 Mere token, and then pass to Alex.
In my turn, I pay 4 life to Sylvan Library's effect, drawing an additional card. I then cast Thassa, God of the Sea, and draw 2 cards. Next, I cast Snake Umbra, enchanting Tuvasa and drawing 2 more cards. Still not finished, I cast Wild Growth on my Reliquary Tower, drawing 2 more cards. I then use Thassa's ability to make Tuvasa unblockable and move to combat. I cast Blossoming Defense to give Tuvasa 22 power and deal Martin lethal commander damage. I untap all of my lands, draw a card, and proceed to my post-combat main phase. I cast Karametra, God of Harvests, draw a card, and then cast Reclamation Sage. I destroy Zendikar's Resurgence, and then end my turn.
Ren plays Prov, Spires of Order, and then casts Revelark. He then passes to Callum.
Callum starts his turn by playing a forest. He then casts Terastodon, destroying Bear Umbra, Snake Umbra, and my Reliquary Tower. I get 3 3/3 elephants as compensation, and Callum casts Ivy Elemental, which enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Callum then ends his turn.
Alex chooses not to draw any additional cards with Sylvan Library and plays Hinterland Harbour. He then casts Corrupted Conscience, attaching it to Tuvasa, draws 3 cards and moves to combat. Alex uses Thassa's ability to give Tuvasa unblockable, and then attacks Callum with the Merfolk, dealing him lethal infect damage. Alex then passes to Ren.
Ren plays a Plains and then ends his turn. How suspicious.
Alex once again chooses not to draw any additional cards from Sylvan Library and plays Sunpetal Grove. He moves to combat, pays 2 for Ren's propaganda and makes Tuvasa unblockable. Alex then attacks Ren with his commander and Ren responds by activating Prav Spires of Order to prevent the damage that Tuvasa would cause. Alex then moves to his post-combat main phase where he casts Heliod, God of the Sun. He draws 2 cards, discards to 7 and passes the turn.
Ren draws for his turn and then passes once again.
In his turn, Alex moves straight to combat. He attacks Ren with Tuvasa, Heliod, Thassa and his 3 elephants. Ren uses Prav on Tuvasa and blocks Karametra with Revelark. Ren then takes 14 damage and returns Windborn Muse to the battlefield with Revelark's ability. Alex then ends his turn.
For his turn, Ren draws a card and then passes to me.
Alex chooses to only draw 1 card and then plays Homeward Path. He then casts Aura of Silence, draws 2 cards and sacrifices the aura to destroy Ren's propaganda. Moving to combat, Alex attacks Ren with Tuvasa, Heliod and Karametra. Ren uses Prav on Tuvasa, blocks Karametra with Windborn Muse and takes 5 damage. Alex then ends his turn.
In his turn, Ren casts Austere Command. He chooses to destroy all creatures with CMC 3 or less and all enchantments, leaving me with a much smaller board state. Ren then passes the turn.
Alex plays Windswept Hearth and then casts Unquestioned Authority, targeting Tuvasa. He draws a card, moves to combat and attacks Ren with his commander, dealing him just enough damage to win the game. Well, that's it for another video. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. Don't forget to like the video if you want to see more like it, and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with our latest videos. Also, feel free to follow us on Twitter, @4commander, and if you want to help us improve our content, consider supporting us on Patreon, links in the description. We'll see you next time.